All right, one last topic before we go. 2019 is a target for the NFL to get a new collective bargaining agreement in place. The league would like to have it in place before the start of the regular season. I don't think that's practical. I think best case scenario is to have a new CBA in place before the next Super Bowl. But be that as it may, a term to get accustomed to, because you're going to hear a lot of it as these negotiations heat up and as proposals begin to be exchanged by the NFL Players Association and the National Football League. And the phrase is this: stadium credits. See, ultimately at the core of any CBA between the NFL and the NFLPA is how they split up the money. Now, before 2011, the players were getting 60%. That sounds good, but it was 60% of the net after the owners took a lot of money off of the top for all sorts of other things. Now the players are getting, under the 2011 CBA, roughly 47% of the gross. Well, moving forward, what owners would like to do is take more money off the top to help pay for construction and renovation of stadiums. And the players look at it and they say, well, why do we want to be in that business? The owners provide the workplace, we provide the work. Why should we be paying with money that otherwise would be distributed to all players through the salary cap mechanism, money that is going to go to pay for the stadiums? That's not our deal. That's not our gig. Here's the problem. The owners may be intent on pushing that issue aggressively enough that they would lock the players out over it. So if the owners are serious about it and they want some allowance for stadium credits, what do the players do? Here's one way to look at it. If you're the players and the league expects you to chip in for the renovation and construction of stadiums, specifically as it relates to the construction of stadiums, the players need a say in where these stadiums are going to be constructed. That creates a fascinating new dynamic as we look at the game of stadium construction and whether or not teams will relocate if they can't get the kind of public money they want, and does it make business sense to build a new stadium in a small market when there's a bigger market out there where everyone can make more money. And now, should the players, if they're going to be paying for the stadiums, should they have a seat at the table when it comes to those deliberations as to where NFL stadiums should be constructed? Look at Buffalo. And folks, I know Bills fans get very, very sensitive to any suggestion that there may not be a new stadium built in Buffalo and that the stadium where the Bills play at some point could be built somewhere else. But think about this. If the NFLPA is going to be expected to devote a chunk of money that otherwise would go to players to construction of a new Bills stadium, shouldn't the NFLPA have a say in whether or not that stadium is built in Buffalo or somewhere else? Maybe collectively, the players don't want to live and work in Buffalo. No offense to Buffalo, but if the players don't want to live and work there and they're partially paying for the stadium, maybe that ends up being a factor in how this all plays out. I guess my point is, for the NFL, be careful what you wish for, because if you want players to contribute to the construction of stadiums, you have to give them a voice. You can't just say, we blindly want the money and we'll figure out how to use it best. And if you do give them a voice, how do you keep them from basically hijacking the process and saying, you know what, we'd rather have a team in St. Louis. St. Louis is putting together some public money. It's going to cost us less and you less, and we're going to make more money in St. Louis because it's a bigger market than Buffalo. I think if you open that door and the players become partners, not just in the sport specifically, but in how the sport is presented via that construction of stadiums, things could get intriguing, to say the least. And all of a sudden, instead of what the owner wants, because that's what it's always been, what's the owner want? The owner wants to stay, the owner wants to move, the owner wants this, the owner wants that. If the players are kicking in significant money for these stadiums, significant enough money that maybe they would be locked out if they refused to kick in the money, and they get a voice, maybe players start dictating where teams are going to be. And the more I think about it, I wonder why it hasn't been that case in the past. Why is it that the people who own the teams decide where the teams are going to be? Why isn't it that the players, the ones who have to live and work in those communities, don't have more of a say? If you expect the players to pay for a large chunk of the new stadiums that are going to be built, maybe they should have that say. And maybe this could get a lot more interesting as these talks unfold if stadium credits continue to be an issue. And I believe, based upon everything I've heard, they will be a major issue in this ongoing round of CBA negotiations.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights From NBC Sports.